Welcome back, everybody, to Legendary Tales. The sound was working on the first try again. What the heck? Um, all right. Does anyone have a recap? I know one of y'all. Okay. My cat's trying to give me a recap, but is anyone gonna talk or?
I have a recap. Oh my gosh. Except every time I talk, I send my page to the wrong spot.
Oh, maybe you should change your push to talk to be something else.
That would make sense, though. Why would we do that?
I don't know.
Okay, so last time we needed to go deeper into the Warband's territory to find the next Soulforged. And so we needed to secure some transportation. After talking to the Beast Butcher in Garansk, we went back to Noverchakut and secured some horses from the Beast Butcher's men there. We started heading deeper into the Warband's territory and traveled towards the mountains. Mostly uneventfully, we did witness a beach whale that just exploded and a scary scarecrow crows. That's what I wrote down. Scary scarecrow crows. Yeah. Um, let's see. We were also given a horn that would signal to the Minotaurs that we were friendly as we started to approach them. We made contact with them and discovered that their leader is in fact the Soulforged that we were trying to find. Torgir Bonehoof, I believe, is the name. I probably have that spelled wrong, but close. Follow him back to the Minotaur Fortress, and on the way, everybody disarms. So everybody is currently disarmed. While we wait for a feast to happen, we do a little bit of shopping and start a little bit of cultural exchange. The Witch looks for a gift for Stanislava in a pottery shop and has some tea. I believe some local tea. Rep Rap had culture exchange with Bonehoof's second in command and acquired a horn and learned how to use it so that we can make contact with them in the future and learn the exact challenge response way to make contact with them, and also use the tan bag of tricks to produce a black bear for this guy that had never seen a black bear before. And yeah, we specifically the very last line is next episode starts with feast and celebration.
Fair enough. Yeah. So, you guys are actually currently in the middle of a culture exchange slash tea drinking, and then the rest of the night goes with you guys explaining stuff from the outside world to these minotaurs who have cut themselves off for a very long time. Then the next few hours or so are spent getting your things together. There are these huge minotaurs that basically stand outside your lodgings so that you don't have to worry about your stuff getting stolen. And they actually go out of their way to make sure that nobody goes in there and respects that. And yeah, before long, the large bell begins to bing bong. It's actually incredibly loud. And a large flame is lit in the giant skull that houses where the feast is supposed to happen. What are you guys doing? Who's going up there first? What's your plan?
There's food, right? So obviously I am charging forward. Fork at the ready, assuming I use a fork. Do I use a fork?
No, you do not use a fork. You eat too fast;
I
it'll
have a
slow you
fork,
down.
but I don't intend to actually use it. It's for show.
You use the fork to grab a new piece, like a whole leg, and as you're eating one, so you have like a preloaded.
I think in canon you have never used utensils ever.
Never ever.
Yeah, but
like, I don't think
assume that they have everything laid out.
And
they seem kind of fancy for minotaurs.
No, they eat with their hands. That was literally a thing last time.
I found a random fork on the ground and I picked it up. I don't intend on using it. Instead, like Sneck said, I use it to shovel more food towards me while I'm using the other handy.
Okay, so it's like your thing that you hold food on while you're getting ready to eat
It's
it.
an arm extender. Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
That's why I refer to it as when people ask me, what is that thing? My, it's my arm extender.
Arm extender, nice. And the second in command actually comes to your guys' lodgings, which is a handful of rooms that they have laid out for, or they basically prepared for you guys so that you're a little bit more comfortable. They all live in these giant canvas structures that are all built around big wooden frames that are very apparently ancient. But outside of that, yeah, the second in command comes to get you. And yeah, they escort you all the way up to the top of the structure. And yeah, that's where you guys go. You get to the skull of this gigantic creature, and you're sort of looking up into it, and it is ancient. The very top of it is bleached white from the sun, but then the underneath side of it is not. The underneath side of it is still like that dark brown and appears to be sealed in some way against moisture and stuff like that. And then inside of that, there are these two large wooden doors with giant metal wrought iron bindings that keep the door closed, but they are currently open inward into this huge open hall that has one large table that goes all the way down, and then a handful of side tables for family members and things like that of these people. And from what you can tell, the amount of people that live in the settlement versus the amount of people that are going to be in the dining hall at any given moment are all going to be rotated in and out, because the amount of chairs available are only about 100 in the overall dining hall. But then outside the dining hall, there's just a bunch of people like drinking and partying outside, and then they basically wait for their turn to go eat. You guys are actually chauffeured in first to one of the tables on the side. What? Yeah, so you guys are actually chauffeured into one of the tables on the side where the second in command sits with you at this small table that can fit about 10 people. It's just the four of you plus the second in command. And the reason they do that is because this table has a grill on it, sort of like Korean barbecue, where you can actually put your meat and then grill it yourself and cook it. And they have a bunch of like plates that have meat actually stacked up on it for you guys, specifically those of you that do eat meat. Other than that, they have a bunch of local flora and fauna, local flora that are edible that you can actually treat yourself to as well. And the whole thing smells vaguely of cinnamon and sweaty man bodies.
Okay.
New this season by Chanel. Cinnamon and sweaty man bodies.
So yeah, before long, after you sit down, Torgeir comes out and sits down on this very large, I wouldn't call it a throne, but it's larger than a normal chair. And immediately looks at everyone in the room. And does anyone here speak Minotaur?
I might. I'm not sure if this is the right character. No, damn it.
For those of you that don't speak Minotaur, the second in command translates actively to you, and he just says that he's very grateful that everyone is here for everything that's happening and how they've had a successful, they went through a successful winter, and since they're in the northern hemisphere, I believe summer is starting for them, so it's going to be it's going to start raining soon, and he's basically going through the seasons, how thankful they are about specific things. And he goes on with that speech, and he says he's also grateful for the people that have come from the outside, and he points at you guys. And then he finally says at the very end that he's going to be leaving, hopefully temporarily, to potentially solve an issue of the outside world. And that is when a handful of the Minotaurs stand up and begin to protest loudly the fact that he is leaving. And they keep pointing at you and yelling very aggressively about how they do not want that to happen. Are any of you doing anything?
If there's a bunch of angry minotaurs pointing at us, I'm trying to keep a low profile and ideally stay behind number 2. Also, does the second in command have a name?
You
Or
have
I've been
not
just calling him
asked.
number 2
You
in
have
my...
not asked him.
I specifically didn't because I was referring to him by title because that's what you do during diplomacy.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep a low profile behind him.
So none of you are interfering or doing anything specific?
No, Rep is going to interfere.
Okay, what are you going to do?
He's going to look to the second in command and ask him if he can translate loudly, or as loud as possible.
He nods
and
at
just
you.
say, okay, and just say, hold. Torgare is a mighty warrior and a mighty leader. His might can aid the rest of the world. And while you may not believe this is your problem, today they come for the arcane magic users. Tomorrow they may come for you.
And with that, a handful of the larger males stand up and they basically look at you and say, then we'll fight. We don't have an issue fighting these people. I don't understand why you have to take him.
Savas is going to stand up and go, they got rid of a continent. And you may be strong. I would lose against any one of you. But you cannot beat that. None of us individually can. None of us as groups can. That's what we've been doing. Having the most powerful on this planet to stop one individual who has the power to shake the entire Earth. You cannot move the tunnels. You cannot shake the mountains. They can.
And
And then she sit back down.
The Minotaurs sort of look at this comparatively small snake person and sort of squint, and they all start to sit down as they sort of understand the concept of like getting all the strength in one place is probably not a bad idea. Is anyone else going to say anything, or is that where you're going to leave it?
Alice sat down. That's her contribution.
Fair enough.
I'm still eating meat.
You're just eating?
Taking advantage of the table.
Yeah. Wait. Why? Okay, I'll figure that out in a bit. Yeah. So, everyone starts. They all start eating, and Torgare comes over to you and pats Sabas on the back. Just says, "That was well said."
Abbas will just like take a look up from her meat and just give it a little thumbs up. She's standing with Blair. She's a little more grace. She's fucking hungry.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they get after a certain amount of after a little while, the vast majority of them are finished eating, and then the next group comes in and like says hi to Torgare after Torgare goes back and sits down. If you guys want to make a perception check, you can if you would like to. If you're looking for anything specific or okay, I didn't just sorry. Oh, there it goes. Oh, minimum 10. I was like, what the? That's crazy. Yeah. 13. Okay. Vidar and Technician, you're sort of looking out because you're not eating. In the second group, there's a larger female that looks close to Freyr that comes out, and she sits directly next to Torgare and is very similar to Torgare in the fact that they both are basically, they almost look molten, sort of, where hers is a different color. Hers is like a little bit more green. And they sit down and they actually embrace warmly with one another.
Rep is going to lean over to Vidar and say at regular volume, but thinking that he's being quiet. That must be the wife. Or maybe queen. I'm not sure how that works.
I'm not familiar with too much of biological entities, but if they share DNA that would give them the same traits, would that not more likely be a sister? Or I guess possibly both.
But
Sister wife.
but she is greener. He is orange. She is green. This is
Siblings can have different traits. I would imagine, though, that molten is a shared common genetic ancestry.
What do I roll to figure out how much I know about genes?
I would probably...
That's got to be medicine, right?
That's got to be medicine, yeah.
Okay, that wasn't supposed to happen.
You weren't supposed to do well.
I got a +2. I mean,
fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. Yes, I see. I made the wrong assumption on their relationship. You are probably correct. So sister, but also possibly queen. Not wife. Stop smirking. That's not what I meant. Possibly queen. A brother and sister ruling as family. I have no idea. I'm just going to turn to the second in command and just be like, what exactly is your government?
He turns to you and he goes, well, that is Torger, and that is his daughter. The wife died during childbirth.
Oh, even worse.
And the embrace wasn't like lovers or anything like that. It was just that...
It was a hug?
It was just a hug, yeah.
Okay. Robots don't understand hugging. That's the punchline here.
And before long, Torgare comes back over to you guys after... How long are you guys going to stay and eat?
I feel like one person gets to make that choice. Yeah.
What'd you say, Lorishik?
How long are we allowed to stay and eat? That long.
Fair enough. It's only the feast itself lasts for the majority of the night. There are drinks handed out to people, alcohol if people are going to be drinking alcohol. If they're not, that's fine. Most of these minotaurs do partake in the alcohol. They don't get super drunk, but they get enough to party essentially. And not too long after that, the party sort of wears down, and Torgeir comes back over to you guys and sits down. He says, "Okay. In the early morning before the sun rises, we are going into the mountains, and I believe I know where your ritual location is supposed to be. I sent scouts earlier, and apparently they have had issues because a group of goblins have decided that this is now their home. So, the only issue I have is goblins in general, traditionally here, leave us alone, and they know of our sacred areas and things, and they have become brazen. So I have a feeling that there is some sort of greater power coordinating them."
Do you need them removed by force or simply scattered?
Either way, I don't care what happens to the goblins. As long as we gain entrance to this area, that's the point. So, early morning. I will also pay you for this as well. I will send you along into the mountain. You get to your ritual area, and I will be shortly behind.
This is a good plan. You point us in the direction. We get there first, clear out the area, and then you may follow, and we may do ritual.
That sounds like a good plan to me.
Do we know how many goblins there are? Will we need aid?
No, I don't believe you will. I can see, for some reason, with my power that I have naturally, I have this sight. And it tells me that you are all, for lack of a better term, warm. Where people who would intend to do other things will be seen as different, cold or distant, or you have a look about you when you are of ill intent. And you do not have the look. So, I am tasking you with clearing out the goblins before we go and do the ritual.
Can we have our weapons?
Of course. I will be sending. And he nods at the second in command, and he stands up and he stretches. I'll be back with them shortly. And he just walks out.
What
Rip
is
Rap is
your
going to turn
second
to
in
the group.
command's name? Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
His name is Borg.
Tavis
He-
is
he
going to
is
make a
bored.
shadow.
Say again?
Tavis is going to make her shadow blade and just start flipping it.
Sick. You said technician?
Just because.
He is Borg.
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 Borug.
Borug. Borug, not Borg.
Borug. And he just sort of smiles at you guys. You have your mission. I will be meeting you as soon as the sun rises. I will be out front, and I hope that you are clear by then. If not, I can assist you. But if you say I am as powerful as I am, and as important as I am, I do not want to risk it in case the goblins are being mentored
Crafty.
or controlled by a power that is too great for myself. Or You understand. Not that you're expendable,
course.
but I have faith in you. And I'm sure the father does as well.
So Rep Rap is going to turn to the rest of the group and just be like, I still have one grenade. We could make short work of this.
I was just going to raise a finger and look at technician and go, then you go alone.
I'll come with, but I'll stay behind you this time.
Yeah, I will be 60 feet back.
Although we are going to a holy site. Exploding holy sites is what got us in this mess in the first place. We didn't do that one, by the way. In case anybody's listening, we did not do that one.
We have done exactly 0 blowing up holy places. To be clear.
Well, there was that forest.
0.5. 0.5. There was the top of the temple. We have blown up a holy site. Granted, the deity
Oh,
said
yeah.
to do it. But
Yeah.
we actually did blow up a holy site. We have committed, I don't know, religious hate crime? Whatever. Close enough.
I was not there for that.
Yeah, it's actually my fault. I've blown up a religious holy site.
The next, you guys sleep through the night. He gets you back your weapons as soon as the feast is over. You guys sleep through the night, and in the wee bit early morning, Technician and Vidar, you're met. Borag comes to your lodgings and knocks on the door. I assume that both of you are awake, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Which one of you answers the door?
Vidar will, but like not like all the way, kind of just like cracking it open and kind of peeking through.
Mm-hmm.
Very suspicious of anyone showing up, maybe to kill us.
Borag just looks at you. He says, "Why are you so? Are you okay?"
He is just like that.
We were told that we may be viewed as outsiders, and people might not want us here. So, better safe than sorry.
Well, your snake companion has changed the hearts of some of the populace, so you appear to be in a better view than most, anyway.
It is fascinating. Lizard folk and Minotaur, though least likely of allies.
And he looks at you. He says, "Are you ready? I'll be escorting you to the site. If you are."
I believe we just need to wake the others.
Okay. I will be outside.
So, Rep Rap is going to turn his volume knob all the way to 11 and go find Lowerchick and just sort of stand over him. Hello!
Oh, God.
It is time.
Time for... Oh. I grab my bag and stuff, and as we're walking out of the room, I grab the sending stone. We should probably send a message. Just in case, right?
Not a bad plan. I will go wake Sabas. Gonna go find Sabas.
Savis is probably just like in the same room, and as long woke up and just look at the technician and go, down.
Hello!
No, not that one.
What message are you sending?
We have met Torger Bonehoof. He's the next Soulforged. Need to help with goblin problem. We're on Eastern Warbands. Bye.
Okay. You the message is sent and the light turns off. It stops subtly vibrating, and yeah, you guys have successfully done it. All of you are awake. Borg is waiting outside. I have procured 2 wolves, so 2 of you will have to ride per wolf, and then we will be on our way.
Thank you, Borg.
You're gonna say something, technician?
Nope. No, I was going to say thank you.
Okay. Just outside there are 2 large gray wolves. Like they're bigger than dire wolves, but they're not like enhanced like dire wolves are. And he gets on the third wolf is very clearly his. He gets on it, and he just sort of points at the other ones that don't really. They have like a saddle that would fit a minotaur, but easily fits both of 2 of you who all are riding together.
I suggest that Vidar and I ride on separate wolves to distribute the weight. It literally does not. Lorchik, I will ride with you.
Okay.
We will distribute the weight evenly, but also make one extra sneaky wolf. No, seriously, I mean, if they both decide to hide well on the wolf just has to kind of comply. So,
True.
Yeah, true.
battle wolf
And we will be
and
in the
hide
way.
wolf.
What's the movement speed of these wolves? I'm curious.
120.
Jesus. Fast ass horse.
They are literally faster than horses. They are incredibly fast.
They're fast horses.
And they also ignore difficult terrain.
Fuck yeah.
So that's even better. Because the second you guys leave, you basically go out the front gate, you turn around, go around the settlement and up into the mountains. And the mountains are covered in these large trees that aren't as big. I feel like I just missed something. Oh my.
There's a reason we didn't respond, Spooky.
Jesus. That's the worst. You guys are the worst. Okay. And then you guys are going up into this forest that is essentially on, the forest is actually basically, the trees actually come out and then they grow upward. So they actually grow like horizontally and then they grow upward outside of that. And then their large canopies are sort of built together, but these are all coniferous. So they're pine and other needle leafed, needle leaves on them. What am I going to say? Yeah, and you basically march up over over this like very rocky area for about an hour. I need you all to make a perception check, please. Sabas is just too infatuated with the fact that she's on the biggest wolf that she's ever seen, ever.
I know, she's having a great time. She's just like ruffling the fur, like looking around, just having a 10 out of 10 day.
Good.
Meanwhile, Rep Rap's in the back there saying, "Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?"
And as
Am I a good boy?
Not you. Now, You might. That is immaterial to my question. You might be. I wasn't asking you. No, that was cruel. I apologize. I did not mean to hurt your feelings. I believe in you. You are a good boy.
Thanks, technician.
And then Rep Rap is going to start like petting the red chick. Who's a good boy? And then pet the wolf. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
I just succumb to it. Allow it to happen.
Fun fact, that's how we handle things with the cat and the dog. You pet one, the other one wants pets, so you just
That's
have
fair.
to literally just do that. Or like you have to stop whatever you're doing with your phone and just, manage.
Technician always has been the scientific researching type. Hopefully, though, by the time we get there, he finds out who the good boy is. Because if he keeps asking, that's going to drive me crazy.
Minus 5 points from Vidar. Not a good boy.
Does anyone in this party have books on them, letters, or any other forms of physical writing?
I am a cartographer with everything necessary to do that.
As you approach this area, you run over the course of about 2.5 hours when it's still dark out, and eventually, you do start noticing that the trees, as you get closer to where the site is, are abnormally green. Like, I don't know if any of you have ever been in the Midwest as soon as a tornado's about to start, but it gets like abnormally green. Like everything becomes very verdant and it gets almost scary quiet. That's how it's feeling as soon as you start approaching this area.
Hmm. All right.
There is a high probability we'll experience an event known as a tornado. I heard about this from a man who wanted crafting done. He was a Viking, or possibly just a big fan of Vikings.
What's a Viking?
That is an excellent question, but I know they wear horned helmets.
And
That might be specific to his region, Minnesota Viking.
As you guys start heading closer and closer, you start noticing that the ground becomes more and more damp, and mushrooms begin to start. You begin to notice mushrooms are growing out of these large trees and stuff like that. Yeah. What are any of you doing anything, or are you just gonna continue heading in?
Torgar, at what point do you leave us to move in on our own? And how much further are we?
There should be a large gate to the mine. It used to be a mine that we discovered the site inside of. So as soon as we get to the gate, I'll be leaving you, and you'll be good. You'll be on your own.
Is this concerning to you? This coloration? Is this normal?
No. Also, these mushrooms are quite concerning. It makes me think that something else has moved in. But I'm unsure of what
Do you have
it
any
could
maps
be. I do
of
not.
the mines?
No, because we've only ever been in here a handful of times. We had it closed off. It's a large gate in front of it, and I'm not sure why anything would move in, but goblins are annoyingly consistent and other things. So
We do have a cartographer who might be interested in a commission if you are looking for maps.
possibly Depends on what you find inside, obviously. So, and about 15 minutes later, you ride up, and this is what you see. If it loads properly. Wait, what? There was supposed to be walls and stuff, but you know what? Fuck it.
We can't currently see past the wooden log gate, right? Technically.
Technically, yes. I don't know why it did that, but let me see if I can fix it. How far?
Oh God, my eyes.
Yeah, you can't see. Wait, why is it so dark? What the heck? Yeah, you still.
Torgare, is this normal? I can't see shit. Torgare? Torgare?
There you go.
Torgare.
There you go.
Oh, I'm better.
There you go. There you go. And Defender's there too. So directly in front of you, there's a large set of wooden towers that are built on top of these carved walls, and then it leads into an area beyond the gate. The gate currently is like the wood on it. It actually has like sprouts and stuff growing off of the wood, and then also has like little mushroom infestations all along the bottom side of it into the ground. Appears the gate has not been opened in a long time.
Rep Rap is going to touch his miniature chest and summon his full size chest to
Okay.
get his kit, all his stuffs,
Okay.
and then back to the ethereal realm with it.
Roger.
So you just touch it and it gets bigger? Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Don't.
that is the net effect. That is the net effect. But what is actually happening is when I touch the small one, the big one rushes over. Almost as if a flow, like a life force, is going in this direction now. I did consider making a stone chest, more like a statue.
Yeah, and Borg looks at you and he says, "Well, it should be on the inside. So good luck, and Torger will be here relatively soon. So
Before we go in, does anyone else think that's kind of weird that giant clan of minotaurs, mighty and strong, can't fight off some goblins and mushrooms?
Borg, sort of before Borg leaves, he just looks at you and he says, "You know this is a test, correct? It's not that they can't. It just wants
I
to
had gathered.
understand that you are in it for the good."
Have we
Travis
been
is gonna,
disguised
like-
the whole time?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think anybody is disguised up since we left the warbands.
I just assume
Alright,
that
what
these
were you saying,
people
Snack?
don't recognize either way.
Travis is just gonna like walk past where Chicken Pat, where Chicken Pat's like, it's okay. The big boys will come and save us if we fuck up, and then just heads back in further.
How big are these minotaurs? On average.
Borg is on the small side, and he's about 8.5 feet tall. He probably weighs 450 pounds,
Short king, I see.
and he's on the small
that-
end.
Is that like Godfather 450 pounds, or is that like Brick Shithouse 450 pounds?
That's like strong man, strongest man in the
Got it.
world. That one guy, what's his name? Not the guy that played the mountain. The other one.
Christoph Waltz.
Christoph Waltz. I'm not. No, the Bjornsson. What? Half Thor. Yeah, Half Thor Bjornsson is what I'm talking about. Like the absolute monstrosity of a human.
The mountain, I think, is who you're talking about, right?
Is that the guy that played the mountain? I think yeah.
I feel like
think you're
I
right.
feel like that's right, but I'm
The
always
hound. I
trying.
was
Is
thinking
that
about the
right?
hound. I was thinking about the hound, not the mountain. Yeah, the guy that plays the mountain. So his like big giant beef man size.
I feel like I had a very good comedy answer, but a better answer would have been Danny DeVito.
Except big.
No, I mean
Lord.
like technically he is the strongest man in the world because like if you had four of them, you could build a table that could hold basically anything because it's already a very compact support, right? Doesn't have any real. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
You're out of control, bro. Okay. Yeah. So you're standing in front of these large pillars, or this large door that has a hinge on the top. Basically, you push through it, and you either push it out underneath it or you pull it up, and then you can run underneath it to get through. What are you guys doing?
Seeing as this is a test, we should probably try to complete this as quickly as possible and efficiently.
Before we do that, does anyone have a way to get these mushrooms, these vines off of the gates? Just a sample without touching it.
Rip Rap's gonna take out the hand axe. Kind of.
It would probably be wise to bring some back, and if we accidentally blow something up and things catch on fire, and there's none left, you think that they might want to study it, no?
Are you making fun of me? It sounds like you're doing a Warforged impression.
This is Warforged appropriation.
No.
No, just out of character, you just went robot, and we lost. Like I the last part of what you said. I don't know what you said.
We should take a sample back so they can study it and do it before we blow the place up.
Do we actually want to blow the place up? I was only partially serious, but okay, that's a good idea. Do you have something I can store this in? A jar. Perhaps a skull.
Give him the skull of the banshee.
Forgot you actually had that. All right.
I give him the skull of the banshee that's in the bag that Callum's skull was in originally.
All right. So Rap is going to take the hand axe and try to just like hack a chunk off or like scrape some of my. It's fungus, right? So it's a little slimy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So scrape some slime, hack a chunk off, try to get it into the skull in the bag.
While a technician is hacking, Vidar just stands there and goes, we should probably assess the situation on the inside before we decide whether or not to blow anything up. This might not warrant that level of force.
As they're doing that, I have my hammer and I'm preparing to shoot an air blast at the gate, just waiting for them to move.
Okay.
Do you
Move out of the way so I can.
Sorry, real quick, Devin. Do I need to roll anything for collecting a sample of this?
No.
Okay. Without touching it.
No.
Okay.
You're a Warforged. You're immune to disease and poison. So anything that the mushroom could do to you, you're immune to. So if it was Loershik or someone else, they might have a chance of doing bad stuff to themselves. But you're a Warforged.
Fun fact: I am not immune to poison.
Yeah, but
fair enough.
You're a robot. I'm not worried about it. Semantics. Blah blah blah.
What is this, critical role?
Yeah. And no.
I'm trying to be fair. I called myself out for cheating accidentally last week. Come on.
Yeah, but we solved it.
Yeah.
By me just saying whatever. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. So rep and defender move out of the way.
Vidar is just standing in front of the gate, I presume.
I never
Yeah, he's
was in
back there
front of
with
the
you.
gate.
He's
I was
he's
standing
back
by
there.
you when I was commenting on not blowing stuff up.
Got it. I shoot one of my charges at the gate.
Yeah, you shoot it, and the gate goes. Are you all gonna run underneath, or are you just gonna? It just goes.
How long does it take to, like, is it very obviously like slow, or is it like,
It definitely weighs a lot, but you could definitely push it if you had to.
I don't want to touch the gate in case I get sick.
I do not have this problem. Just gonna try to push the gate and brace it.
Okay. Go and make an athletics check, please. At advantage, whoever is rolling it.
Yes, I'll help you push the gate.
You push hard, and it does not move very much. It moves a little bit, but not a whole lot.
My duodenum.
Do what?
Am I able to climb this hill over here to get up to the tower?
Yeah, definitely. I might have to hold on. Let me see where my walls go. So yeah, you can definitely get up onto the tower. It doesn't actually have a way to get you to get up there, but you can get here. What we'll do is
While doing that, I'm very careful to not touch any plant life.
when you get up to the top, there isn't any. It's just like a large plateau that is just rock covered. It doesn't have moss or anything on there.
Did I climb into the tower? Or did I climb over into the other side?
The problem is the tower actually doesn't have an entrance into it. So it's just like
Oh, got it.
like it actually doesn't have one.
So are we role playing me in the tower, or are we role playing me on the outside?
On the other
inside?
side, yeah.
Sorry, on the inside. Okay. Guys, I got it. I'll look for. I just start mumbling, and I start looking for like a lever or a switch or something.
There's so on the far side, down on the bottom, there's a large wheel that you can actually see that you can actually like crank. That's hooked to a chain that pulls it up inward.
I take my hammer to tap the wheel before I touch it to make sure anything falls off of it, and then I start turning it.
Yeah, it seems it's perfectly fine. You start turning it, and bam, it opens.
Meanwhile, Vidar and Rep are on the outside pushing, and sort of believe that they opened the door. It did not want to budge at first, but we got it.
Nice work, technician.
Thank you. I am a good boy.
I go and just pet the back of technician.
Er, er, er. That
No,
is
we
the
don't
sound
make
that
that
wolf made. Oh.
No.
Er?
Are there pink and purple, or pink and blue and purple gems scattered all over the place?
There are. They seem to be glowing.
Are they processed?
They are unprocessed.
I see lots of uncut jams, but no goblins.
Uncle John. They're worth the cut. That's a very specific reference.
Vidar is going to look down at those the mine shafts over there. Try to peek into them and see if he sees anything.
You see a small campfire with a handful of like goblins sitting around at the entrance.
Down the right one or the top one?
The top ones appear to be caved in. It's only that middle one that's still open.
I would like to stealth or try to stealth and go over next to this wall.
I would
Okay.
like to actually stealth.
Oh, it
Yeah,
was on a
so I
1
thought-
for a second.
I would have still got a 16, so I would have still been as good as the lawyer check, even at my worst.
Fair enough. All right. Fair enough.
I was just gonna sit in the corner.
Yeah, you can hear a bunch of like goblins yelling at each other.
Anyone here actually speak Goblin? I don't. I could just start talking in their heads and really mess with them. Freak them out. Like, how are we gonna deal with these? She's like whispering to
Could
and
send
just
a-
loud enough I can hear.
Defender in as like a cute animal or a bear to scare them out. Rawr.
If my knowledge of goblin behavior is correct, they will attempt to domesticate him. Goblins tend to try to domesticate anything wolf-like. I'm not sure if they would try to domesticate a bear, but it does stand to reason.
So Defender lures them out because they're trying to domesticate him. And
So
then bonk.
they are goblins. It's not. Sorry, how many? Vidar, how many goblins do you see?
5.
So I was going to take another look back in there.
5.
5 from where I can see. Does it look like there's any way for it to go further? Like there might be more further in, or
Oh yeah, this main thing is like a giant room that has a bunch of like makeshift towers in it because the cave opens up really big and there's 3 towers, and then directly behind that there looks to be like a bar or some sort of saloon, and then there's a bunch of entrances that go farther back.
there is 5 immediately, but it's possible there are more in there.
If we are to attempt to lure them to us, we could simply shout down the tunnel, insulting them. They may become cross and make a mistake.
But if they come out unsuspecting of danger, easier to bonk.
Do you want me to send Defender down there?
Try this. I pick up like a pebble or a rock and I throw it at the top of the inside of the entrance and duck back behind the corner just so it like hits the ceiling or something and makes some noise when it lands.
You hear a deeper voice. Do any of you speak Goblin? None of you speak Goblin, right? You hear a bunch of them have like really high pitched voices, and they're yelling at each other. And then you hear a,
Robble.
and yeah, they you can hear that one of them has stood up, and Vidar, you can actually see that one of them around the campfire has stood up, and he turns around, and his eyes are glowing.
That one seems to have glowing eyes. Is that common amongst goblins?
I believe that's called a globlin. Some believe he is the result of a typo. I should write to Wizards of the Coast and suggest that they add the globin to the to the monster manual.
The Globlin.
The Globlin. It's a goblin with glowing eyes, deeper voice.
So what are you
Yeah.
doing?
Sorry, go ahead.
Are you guys gonna go in there? What's your plan?
Can I
We could-
try to mimic their language?
That would be a performance check.
Okay, I just try to like say in the same tone as the deep voice person the exact same thing they said.
Surprisingly well, you do mimic it, and then you hear a sort of response to it. Vidar, will you make a okay? Vidar, what are you doing? I assume that you're just sitting there back there. What are you doing?
I get behind the minecart once I hear Lowershik start making noises, and I'm hiding behind it.
Okay. Go and make a perception check for me, please. Just Vidar. As you're looking in, you're sort of trying to see what's going on, and you see this small goblin who's dressed in like this weird armor. As he steps, mushrooms begin to grow out of the ground every time he steps. As he begins to walk toward the entrance.
Vidar is just going to, as quietly as possible, to not alert the goblins, but he's going to say, I think we found the source of the mushrooms.
Rep is going to motion to Sabas to step back about 5 feet.
You're greasing that area?
Grease.
Okay.
Is grease flammable?
Yes.
It literally says it right there, doesn't it?
It does not.
No, it does not say that. I would say that yes, it is. Okay.
Can I repeat saying the same thing? I assume he's still walking like in our general direction,
Yeah.
but it's just kind of like curiously.
Mm-hmm.
I try to repeat the same thing, just saying it from like without looking into the tunnel or anything, so you can hear it outside. I do the performance check again.
Yeah. Still not too bad. Um, okay. Need to make a dexterity saving throw. No, it is this one.
As I hear him approaching the front of the tunnel, I want to get my hammer ready, but not to hit him over the like head or anything with it. I want to use it like a pull cue. So when he comes out and he's on the grease, I want to like shove him so he goes flying towards like at the side that Savis is on. So
Mhm.
the other goblins don't see him anymore. I just want to pull my hammer back after I do it.
It's the
Okay.
reverse stage hook.
So you see this little goblin, and you just push him over that way.
Yeah, take my castigator and with the head, I just shove him across the grease, so he's out of line of sight of the tunnel anymore. So anyone looking down don't see him.
Okay. He just sort of looks at you guys. He doesn't have weapons out or anything.
Common?
Ah, of course. What are you doing?
What are you
here?
guys doing here?
What are you doing?
What are
here?
you doing?
What are
here?
you doing here?
Trying to find out what you're doing here.
We asked you first.
I'm just here. Am I not allowed to exist here? He sort of gets up and like brushes. He gets up and brushes himself off. He's like, this is disgusting. Whoever did this, you're a disgusting individual.
A point at technician.
You're gross.
No, you.
We've been told that by the Minotaurs that you guys have taken over this area, and they see it as holy land, and they would like it back.
Why didn't they say something?
They're kind of shy. They're recluses.
Fair enough. How about this? You come do what you've come to do, and then you leave. I will take my crew, go to one side of the cavern. You come in, you do your thing, and then you leave.
See, they wanted us to come and get rid of you. But if there's an opportunity for diplomacy, we'd be very interested in helping make that happen.
Well, there's 4 of you. And you don't want to know how many of us there are.
You don't want to know what we're capable of.
Oh, I'm fairly certain.
Do you have any interest in becoming friendly with the Minotaurs?
No. I want to live here.
What if you could live here, but they still see it as Holy Land? And you guys get to use it and take care of it, but they get to come and use it for whatever religious purposes they have. They help keep you fed, you help them with whatever they need. Limited interaction. We're trying to help them figure out how to be friendly with the outside world. They're not really good at that. This might be a good opportunity to start.
Well, I just set up here as well. Did not have time to hide everything.
Hide. Before, what's with the mushrooms?
He just sort of claps his hands, and spores come out, and they just start growing mushrooms right away. It's just part of who I
Are
am.
these poisonous?
I could make them
They-
poisonous. Do you want them to be poisonous?
No, we've just been afraid to touch them, if you don't.
Oh, they're just mushrooms. These are harmless.
Insight check.
Go ahead. He's telling the truth.
Okay.
Do you identify as a wook?
I said, what?
A wook.
Oh.
I have noticed where you go, mushrooms are very close by.
No, I am not a wook, as you say.
Just asking.
What I am is something else altogether.
Spyglass.
You're gonna spyglass him?
Yeah, I'm gonna spyglass him.
Okay.
Phlebotomist?
Phlebotomy, I think, is what it is.
Philatelist. damn it,
A
phlebotomy.
gesture to Vidar while he's doing the spyglass, like pointing at the compass, like, or where, if I was holding the compass,
Mm-hmm.
just be like,
Jupiter's
check the
gonna look at the
compass.
compass.
The compass is pointing at everything. Is pointing at. It's definitely very clearly pointing at Torgare, or at least a settlement. And then the shadow hand hasn't moved. And the other hand is
What
still
about the
pointing.
other hand?
It's still pointing in the same direction. As you spyglass, you look at him, a veil of dark purple with like little hints of green every once in a while. But his aura is so large that you cannot see Sabis at all past where you are. Like it covers most of the wall. It's very large.
What is your name?
Oh, my name is Kultis Sar.
Kultisar. Have you ever been known to have extra normal abilities? Besides the mushrooms growing where you step.
Um, for my person, no, these are normal for me. Why?
You have large aura energy. I was just curious.
Oh, yes, of course. That's because I am blending in with my
Ah,
minions.
Do your minions know you're blending in?
No. All they know is that I'm smarter and more cunning. And that's what matters.
Can I do an Arcana check to see if he is like using an illusion or something?
Sure. He is definitely shapeshifted and into this form.
Can I tell what his normal shape would be or not?
You would need to make a nature check like DC 24. He's a dragon of some sort.
Dick. Sabas will telepathically tell that to everyone in the party.
Are you saying it out loud?
Telepathically.
Okay.
now one could make the
You
argument
know,
that saying things out loud is also being communicating telepathically, just the real crap version of it. I've had a thought and I've told everyone with my mind and also my mouth.
So you're not a goblin,
No,
but they are goblins.
they are.
If you're not a goblin, what are you?
I'm myself.
A minotaur? An exiled minotaur that
No,
had to come
no.
because Toger has banished you.
No, I have come from the far east. Underneath the volcano. I have moved to, as they say, greener pastures.
Were you by chance just recently flying across the land?
Maybe.
Technician, I think we found your friend.
Did somebody wave at you from the ground and say, hello?
No.
Oh,
Perhaps someone did and you just didn't see them.
Maybe. Well, if you saw me, you would understand why that would be an impossibility.
Well, you wouldn't be the first of your kind that we have run into. What can we do to help you?
I want to live here. Here is my
Why do you want to
place.
live here specifically?
Because it fits all the requirements for me to for lack of a better term, procreate.
Underground. Cavies. Um, hmm. What else? What else are the requirements?
Damp, dark, unreachable via the surface. I had not had time to flood this area.
So you need it to be flooded.
I don't need it to be flooded. I prefer it to be hard to get to.
We may have a better spot for you.
But why do you want it to be hard to get to?
Because
You have to understand. I'm just trying to understand your intentions. I don't know if you're going to try to take over the world and cause more problems, or if you are just trying to mind your own business.
My
and live
chromatic
happily.
brethren have large. My chromatic brethren have large goals and aspirations. I am more focused, and my aspirations go only as far as my horde, not power.
Would your chromatic brethren be upset if you, not necessarily cohabited with
No.
others, but
I cannot cohabitate with them. They are not with them specifically, but
oh,
I
not
prefer,
with them.
I
See,
prefer.
I'm also from underground, and there's plenty of space. You could quite easily come and live on our side of the world.
I am willing to hear this. If you can direct me to a new place to live.
Status is going to like
I
stand up and just
Go
sort of like, here, I'm an archaeologist.
Okay.
I know of many of these kinds of places. What would you like? We have Dwarven. We have.
Are you
Drow.
just pulling out your maps and you're just like
She
literally
literally takes her fucking heavy ass backpack and just slams it the fuck down. Pulls out this like binder that's like fucking gets past like industrial standards in size and starts going. Okay, so we got Drow, we got Elven, we've got I don't know, Goblin ruins. It's like rotted wood. Just keeps going. Just keeps going. I don't know which this one was. Neither did they. We just kind of scratched it off as the Earth kind of just did that for fun. Really, whatever you want. I can find you and direct you.
he sort of
Well,
walks
generally,
he walks
the
over
world kind of shifted.
he walks over to you and puts his arms behind his back to make sure he doesn't touch the stuff because if he touches it it's gonna like actually he does touch it and nothing happens. And he actually shows he looks at you, he says, okay, now that I've established my lair, I want to show you something. And he says, do any of you have a blade of some sort?
Status pulls out a dagger.
He's like, do you mind? I can actually, if you live within a certain distance of my lair, I can benefit you greatly, depending on what your objective is. So he takes
just flips out a dagger and hands it. Yeah.
He takes a dagger, he starts slashing the shit out of the maps, and nothing happens.
Status has a little bit of a heart raise, just like. Oh, okay.
So he literally just
I
starts
walk
going. He
over
just
and
starts
hand
going
him
ham.
off my cards while he's doing this.
He starts going ham, and he literally like pulls out like a jar of acid, throws it on the paper, and literally just turns the paper, and it falls off. If I establish a layer, everything within a certain distance is protected magically, whether it's text, all text, whether it's book, scroll, everything.
Stavis just picks up like the layer of maps and just sort of like holds it out with like the most like please look in her eyes. Like, this has not been the first time these have been destroyed.
And he just looks at you. He's like, there are benefits for me living within a certain distance of you, but that being said, you would have to clear my minions for me, and I would need new ones, or potential protege as well.
I mean, define minion, because if you just need people to live with you and do things for you as your leader, we can make that happen.
It depends on how stupid they are.
Would you prefer them to be stupid?
Yeah.
We did meet a kobold that was very, very suggestible.
I love kobolds. What color was he?
Red.
Oh, my favorite.
He is not a snack.
We're not going to eat him.
No,
Okay.
that would be sort of cannibalism.
I did prevent a barbarian from drowning him in a bucket.
Oh, good.
I may have also suggested he drown him in a bucket.
Well, how long until your entourage arrives? Because you said they wanted you to clear them out, correct?
Correct. However, we could very easily use you to get them to clear out on their own. No death needed. And then we can help you get back to a new settlement, closer to home.
Of course. He looks back at you, and he literally backs up, walks over here, and goes, "Stay back." And shapeshifts into what looks like a giant dragon chameleon dragon, almost. And with one of his eyes looking at Technician, one of them looking at Vidar, he looks and he says, "Well, now you understand why it would be hard for me not to see them." And he almost looks painted. Like, literally his scales look as if they were gray, but they appear to have, like, actual, like, ceramic or, like, acrylic paint over the top of them. "If you can find me a new place to live, I will clear out these minions to the forest, and they can live wherever. And I will make myself a new form for when your entourage arrives."
I believe Sabas has provided a very ample listing of places to choose from.
Granted, the world kind of went boom, so you're gonna do a little bit of searching.
It's fine. It's in my nature
Okay.
as well. You just need to tell me
You could-
where you are, and I will go there as well.
We could take him back or have someone take him back to Dahakoan and have Haka
Well,
help him find a place to live.
I mean, could I just yeet stone to any of these ruins, or do I have to know the precise location? Because I do have the memory what they looked like.
You have been to a lot of these ruins. You've actually been
Like
there.
I basically been to half of the world,
Yeah, you have. Underneath half the world, yeah.
mostly under the water, but like I could just like, which one's this? Okay, cool, let's go. I would be the
And,
best tourist guide. Holy shit.
if any of you want to make a nature check to see what kind of dragon he is, the chances are very low, but
Aw.
or you could
I only
ask
get
him.
Cool.
Kultis-
Yeah.
Kultisar, you implied that you could make your mushrooms poisonous.
I could.
Can you make your mushrooms into any sort of mushrooms that you want?
More or less. Why?
Because we happen to know a place that farms mushrooms that could probably benefit from having you nearby. And they farm them at the bottom of a isolated mine shaft.
And they are actually near the volcano. They are close to your original home.
I would like to not be near there, though. He looks at you and he says, "I did not come on this side of the world voluntarily. Something chased me out of it. A man on a horse."
Did he disappear through a crack in the ground?
He cut open a hole in the world and walked through it.
He do the be like that sometimes.
Do you know this man?
No, no, no. We have run into him,
So
but
he's no
it's not like I know his kids' names or
he is
anything.
your foe then.
Yes,
You tell me when you fight this man, and I will accompany you to it.
How can we contact you?
He goes like that, and he literally like coughs up this small sort of hardened. It looks like a morel, or is it called a morel mushroom?
A morel, yeah.
And it looks like it's made of steel. It's made of some sort of metal, and it's got a small gemstone in the middle of it. It's only about yay big overall, but it's very, very intricate. And he hands it to Vidar. This is a beacon for me. So you activate the beacon, I know where you are, and my magic can bring me to you.
Vidar takes it and just slides it into his pocket. When we fight him, will that will free you up for going back east under the volcano? Yes.
Potentially.
Is it necessary that you have a lair set up now
No,
in the meantime, or can you just wait until then?
I can wait as long as you can assure me the Minotaurs will not come to my home.
Are you worried that you're in danger?
No, I do not want to kill anyone unless it's very specific reason for it.
The Minotaurs were very kind and generous hosts for us. They might be willing, especially if you shapeshift into maybe something that isn't a goblin. They'd be willing to host you too.
Perhaps, or maybe I could just leave here after you leave for a time. Maybe we talk to your patroness once they get here.
That sounds like
It
a
would
good plan.
probably be best if we warn him first. If you'd like, I can go out and proceed his entry so that he is prepared. He does seem like he might be quick to judge and or throw hands and or fire.
I see. I will go clear out my minions.
So apparently the only thing I can do is place templates right now. Is there?
Are you on the wrong? You're on the wrong thing. You need to be on
Am I?
the token controls, not the measurement controls.
Yeah, click the user icon top left.
The bands.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, it just got stuck because I did it like 3 times and now it's working. Okay.
Front end devs can never get anything right.
And I think we're just gonna go on our 15-minute break real quick, and then we'll be back and we'll finish this up. All right, so we'll see you guys right around 6. We'll see you guys in 15 minutes. Bam, short rest. Welcome back, everybody. To Legendary Tales. We're just gonna wait for technician to get back, and then I'm gonna look for some character art for this man's because genuinely didn't expect you guys not to fight it. So here we are.
Here we are.
Harlow.
Hi.
Okay. Oh
Damn
shit.
straight.
Okay. Um. Roll me d6. 1. Okay. Um.
Rest in peace, technician.
It looks like a. That man's looks like a Zabrak. We don't want no Zabrak. It's D&D, not Star Wars. He must be doing a tree inspection or something. Oh, he's back.
All right.
No, you're fine. Um,
Technician lives.
I forgot. Cool. Wait, no, let me change the token name. Cool. Soulforged. Okay. So, you guys are sitting outside with this dragon, and he sort of looks at you and he says, I'll go clear out my minions, and then I will be back. And he squeezes his way past the door. And then he turns back with his big head in the door and goes, You may want to go outside so they don't fight you on their way out. Like, just get out of line of sight. And I assume that Sabbath, you're actually getting out of the way, or you know.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Forgot I had to actually move myself in this moment in time.
Um.
So wasn't there for that. Nobody told me.
Well, you're sort of standing right there, right?
I was standing there before, waiting for Torgir or
Mm-hmm.
Torgar. Yeah.
Do Vidar or Larshik say anything? Or are you guys just like moving?
I nod him as I begin walking away.
You don't actually tell him?
As Vidar kind of like dips down into the bush, he gives him the kind of look like, "Hey, we're hiding. Maybe you as well."
Oh, right.
But he doesn't actually say that. He just gives him that look.
I kind of want to see if I can do this.
Okay.
That could
Not
be
too
worse.
bad. As you're sort of ducking behind this tree trunk, you literally hear a loud roar, and then a bunch of screaming as hundreds upon hundreds of goblins exit the camp. Like, literally, it's like a steady stream, like a straight line, pretty much, for about 15 minutes. And after all the goblins have scattered themselves into the forest, you just hear them yelling and running and like all that. Um, this man comes walking out. Why are you all hiding? Oh, never mind.
This is a nice new look you have.
Oh, thank you. I thought about it for a little while. You call me Tool, or Cool, by the way. Just call me Cool from now on. There are people that
Right.
may or may not recognize my name, so
Is there some like backstory we should know about you that might be frightening to some people?
well, a long time ago, they used to call me a Dream Eater in the lands of Siltime.
Can I make a history check to see if this is something I recognize?
Sure. Nope.
Do you feast on people's dreams? Like literally? Or people are just afraid of the way that you appear to them?
The way I look in my natural form is quite startling, which is why I had the minions paint me.
I don't think you were startling at all, actually.
Well, thank you for that. Well, your your person should be here soon, correct? And as he says this, or yeah, there's Torgare. Torgare is not medium sized. I don't know why he's medium sized. Torgare comes riding up. Ah, I see you have found him. Or at least found someone.
I looked at technician because he normally makes our introductions for us.
Torgir, this is cool. Cool was, in fact, influencing the goblins here, and has since driven them out from this place. We will be working with Torgir to relocate him, but he has asked that the Minotaurs please do not enter his lair.
He looks and he brushes his small, like, tuft of hair under his chin. What do you mean? He seems to be some sort of elemental or something. I'm confused.
Correct. He was using this as his home because it was the correct conditions for his life. However, we will be relocating him. He has agreed to not make this his lair any more than temporary. Sabas is quite gifted in the art of estating, especially for caves.
Babish just kind of like seems like visibly confused, and then just kind of shrugs and goes, "Yeah, I guess that's the way to describe it."
Cool just nods. I will be out here when you are finished. And then I will go inside after and I will leave you alone, Torgir. I promise. And Torgir just nods at him.
We have managed to conclude this without bloodshed.
Interesting. Let's go.
There is a probability one of the goblins was trampled to death in the stampede of leaving, but that's not our fault.
I don't mind. And Torgir sort of walks toward the entrance. He stomps his way over there, and Cool sort of sits on top of this minecart over here. And he actually leads you back past this like extremely like mushroom overgrown cavern that goes all the way back, and then there's basically leads you through a bunch of caverns and formerly mining areas, and through a maze of tunnels into this large open area that has actually, you know what? I'll just drag you guys over here. Fudge. No? Okay. Ooh, ooh. Where's Torgir? There you are, Torgir. um... So just behind this, there's like pillars in this room that appear to be the same ancient architecture that you guys have been in dozens of times before. And as you're getting close to it, Vidar, your hands begin to glow, and like just the appendages that are closest to this area begin to glow.
Vidar's gonna hold his hands up and kind of like motion towards Torgir that this is happening. This is a good sign. This means that we're getting close.
You should lead on then, correct?
Correct. Is
Okay.
there actually a place to go up here?
No. Because I'm going to explain to you what happens. As you get closer to the pillars, both sets of pillars, like there's one in the middle and then the one on the sides, fill up with that sort of water-looking sheer sort of portal that it always does every time. And Torgir sort of looks back. He says, "Are you all coming, or is it just going to be Vidar and myself?"
I follow.
We'll also follow.
Technician?
Yeah, following.
Okay, so you all enter the water, and all of you feel that heart sink where you're falling, and you are falling, like falling down, and you land in water, and you swim up, and you get to the top, and the top is solid, and you're able to get onto it just like the other ones are, except your clothes and your skin is completely dry, and you sort of sit up, and you look up above you, and the largest creature you've experienced seeing so far is sort of arched over on above you, standing with the pillar appears to be his cane. He's hunched over a cane, and he looks down, and he has a long white beard that touches the floor, and it like curls around the floor, and he sort of looks down at you. And his mouth moves, but nothing comes out as he looks down at you. And the only sound in this room is every once in a while it's water splashing against the massive cane of this creature.
Is Vidar able to do a psychic whispers onto this thing?
Sure.
Hello, we are appear unable to hear you speaking, but it appears that you are trying.
For the first time in a long time, you can hear me then.
Yes, let me try something. And Vidar is going to like push a button on the whole hologram thing on his face.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully changes to the one of the father. And then the psychic whispers basically becomes a speaker.
And you can't really see the face. What it looks like is a cloak above a shadowed like head, and then the beard sort of comes out the bottom of the hood. And he just looks at you, and he looks down, and he says, Torgir, long have I watched you. How do you know I am the father? And he's like, you could tell he's looking at you. Like, you can't really see where his face is facing, but you could tell he's looking at you, Vidar.
And does everyone then hear that? I think the
Mm-hmm.
okay. Was he talking to Torgir there?
No, he's talking to you.
Oh, I thought he said. You said
He's asking how
Torgir.
you knew he was the father.
We have met many of the other Soulforgers, and they have pointed us in your direction. Also, and then he just gestures around to the fact that they are actually there, and the fact that he is glowing. We have ways of finding the Soulforgers.
And he looks down, and he actually begins to move to sit down, and the whoosh in the air moving from him sitting down in his robes, pushing air everywhere. He sits down, and he looks at Torgir, and Torgir moves in front of him, almost as if they're communicating without talking. And he reaches down, and he has like these long claws. They're not claws, but his fingernails are very not well taken care of. And he reaches out and he touches Torgir, and Torgir explodes in this massively like black flame with like white edges on it just for a moment, and then it all calms back down and sucks back into Torgir, and his molten visage changes to almost like pure iron. It's no longer molten, but he appears to have been almost solidified. but there's still like little smoke coming from some of like the edges and his joints and things like that. And he turns around to face Vidar and the rest of you, and his eyes are now glowing white instead of like the red hot fire that was before. They're actually glowing white with this black smoke coming off of it. He looks at you and he says,
I understand now. Thank you for this.
and he sort of walks over and he puts a massive hand on Vidar.
I am awakened now. Just like my brothers before me. The Voice Taker and Zulvuk.
And he sort of stretches for a moment.
Oh. Do you have any questions of the Father before we leave?
Who is the voice taker?
The Voice Taker is one of the gods that the Father created. The first generation Soulforged.
We have one more Soulforged left to find, I believe. What exactly are we to do once we do? Is that when we just take on Void's Soulforged and everyone will know what to do?
There is a refuge Void uses to store himself when he goes dormant.
And he turns around, and the father puts out his left hand, and in it is like a picture, like a hologram or like magical projection of the world, and it's wrapped around, and he spins it to show you essentially the world map. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go there, and I'll show you. And he points to an island. On the map for us would be northeast, but for that it's just basically the very tippy top of the one of the top islands of the northern hemisphere, other than like the ice shelves and stuff that are above this. This island here is what he's pointing to. This island here is what he's pointing to.
Still loading.
Okay. Let me know when you're all there.
Gotcha. Yep. See it.
And he points to it and he says,
This is where the Void has stored himself and goes dormant for long periods of time. We must make a voyage there with our forces, including the Soulforged, for the final engagement.
Don't we have one more?
But when we are all together, we make our way there.
Is there any special preparation that do the Soulforged combine to form a giant Warforged?
Voltron? Do they Voltron?
I do not
Or
know.
will everyone know what to do?
According to my father, this is the only time the Soulforged have been able to fight back. So think of it that he has been able to prepare his area forever, since the beginning of time. The fight will be long and hard, but we will prevail, hopefully.
Do you have any further information about finding the last remaining Soulforged or Soulforger?
No. All I know is that the friend is who he is made by, and they are generally quite happy. We may have to petition a god to locate them. The god known as Jingle.
This is useful information. And then Vidar kind of looks around. We should be going unless anyone else has questions. We need to find that remaining Soulforged.
The father sort of looks down and taps the ground a couple times, and then Vidar, you hear in your head, and then it's projected outward.
There are forces beginning to starting work. The Void Soulforged has begun to move. I can sense him. You are on a timer, I believe, to find this last Soulforged. Be very careful.
And he looks down and he says,
The compass. Let me see it.
Vidar hands it over.
um,
I see.
and as soon as he takes it, you can see that something happens to the projection of the world. And instead of the compass sort of mangles itself in like a strange way and then reshapes itself to become, instead of a compass, the compass is still on the bottom, but the arrows have disappeared. And he basically hands it back to Vidar. And as soon as Vidar grabs it, it sort of reactivates itself with a burst of energy. And that small projection happens again. Except instead of the compass arrows pointing in a specific direction, you can literally see dots on a projection of the world that is now enhanced by the Soul Forger. So now there's a dot on the crag. There's a white dot on the crag. There's a black dot on that island to the northeast.
It seems we need to head for the crag.
This will not always work. It does not always function. The compass will still work, but don't depend on this image.
it's any specific place in the crag that it looks like the dot is?
It looks as if it's on the middle island, actually. So what are you guys doing?
We are on a timer. We must also relocate Cool. So we should probably go back out the way that we came in, collect Cool, get him to a new location, and then head for the crag immediately.
Should we leave Torgare in Garansk or at the forge with other soul forgers?
We should get him to the forge. How many Yeet stones do we have?
I think you just have one right now, right?
I think so. Yeah.
We should take Torgir back to his people so that he can show himself to them in his current new form. And then we should yeet back to the warbands and have someone accompany him to the forge.
That is a solid course of action. While are in Garansk, we may be able to ask for a pre-charged Yeet stone to go directly to the crag. Otherwise, we will just be there for 3 days, but that might be okay.
Have any of us been to this island? And he holds up the compass and points towards the one that the dot's on. I have only been to the western crag.
The likelihood, Sabas has probably been under it, but actually going to the top side of it, not really. Not many people.
Where on the map does it appear?
Right here, it's this middle one, and it's like right in the middle of it. But the actual map that you guys
Travis-
have for it is here. I'm taking you to the crag map right now, so I can show you. Where the dot is right now is definitely not somewhere that would be survivable at the moment. So.
Right there.
Yeah. Yep, that's basically where the dot is right now. So yeah, you guys are in there with the Soulforged. Do you have any other questions, or are you heading out?
Good to head out.
Yeah, also good.
All right. Just as you entered, he sort of gets you all together, and Father makes a hand motion, and the floor sort of drops out from below you. You fall in the water a little bit, and then you're thrown out vertically or horizontally out into that cavern again. And Cool is standing there. He said, "How was your interactions? Were they good?"
But I was just going to point at Torgare.
And he looks over. "Oh my gosh, that's a different man."
I have thought about your proposition, and I will make my way to the crag myself. Unless there's somewhere else you wish me to go.
It's possible that perhaps Torgir wouldn't mind your powers to protect his people while he is out trying to save the world. And perhaps after that's done, you could go and make a home in the crag, free from the guy that chased you away, since Torgir will be helping us kill him.
I can do that.
Or
As
at
long
that
as
point,
they
you could
don't
return
come,
to Sultine.
they don't come after me.
Torgir, would you be comfortable with Pool helping take care of your people?
Torgir walks over to him, stomps over to him, and puts a hand on his shoulder. And as he does that, you see a sort of light in Torgir's eyes as he realizes what cool is, and he sort of turns back.
If he can overcome his nature, we will be fine. His particular species is not known for being selfless in the way he has presented himself to you.
People can change. So can dragons.
I will hope so. To the foundry, then, or the forge. I assume that is where we're going, correct?
Unless you wanted to go home first to... You don't want to startle your people. Sounds good. We should head back to the warbands and have one of them take you to the forge themselves.
Sure.
And he just sort of grabs Vidar and Technician's hands like he's ready to go. This man is ready. He's chomping at the bit, ready to go.
Pull out the yeet stone. Yeah, yeet!
The portal opens and pulls you guys through it. Bam! You land right in front of the Black Citadel, and right in front of Emerald, who's just chilling, and Zoya, Mira, the third. I cannot remember the third sister's name. Does anyone remember the blue one that you met in the forest?
This was an A.
Ashka. I don't remember. But either way, all
Doesn't start with an A.
all three of her sisters, her and both of her sisters are basically standing there, and they sort of look at you, and then Torgir comes out, and they go, "Holy!" Their eyes widen as like they see this monstrous hulking like iron giant character come out of the portal, and they just look at you and they say, "Oh, so you found him." Zoya comes over and says, "Would you? Who has been to the forge?" I have not been
Bolo
yet.
is around here, hasn't he?
Yes, Bolo. Bolo should be in. I think he's visiting your housekeeper at the moment. So if you'd like to go down and see him, he should be there. That's where I saw him last, anyway.
What is Bolo doing to our housekeeper?
What do you mean? You didn't know that they're friends? Like, best friends?
Bolo has friends?
He's surprisingly charismatic.
News to me.
So what are you guys doing?
Real quick, Rep Rap is going to add. I have heard that Bolo is a blast at parties. Ha ha ha! Joke complete.
It is Yaska. That's right. I thought it was. Yeah, I was close. Um, yeah, all three of the sisters are there. And Sabas, you recognize that all three of the big sisters are there right now. They do have a handful of other ones that are like minor groups outside of here. Um, but so you guys walk down to go see what Bolo's doing, or are you going back to your house? What are you doing?
I walk over to find Stanislava. I assume she's in her area.
Yeah.
And bring her a teapot.
Oh yeah. And she looks at you and she says, "You did not have to kill anyone to get this, did you?"
I was going to purchase it for you as a thank you for the very generous gift of the mansion. But it seems the Minotaurs wanted you just to have it.
Okay.
Seem to respect you, but good company, for sure.
She looks down at you and she said, "Who made this?"
Frere?
Freyr made this?
At least that's what she called herself, yes.
Okay.
Why?
You don't know what this represents, do you?
It makes tea, Stanislava.
She lied to you then. Okay. She turns the pot over and like literally explains all of the runes around the sides to you. And she says, technically speaking, if you give this to me, you and I will be married.
Oh, I mean, I'm not opposed, but I'm not sure if I'm ready for that kind of commitment, Stanislava.
She looks down at you and she just like, she gets a look on her face that's like more confusion than anything else. Sometimes your party is like the smartest creatures I have ever met. And then sometimes you just don't pay attention to things. And either way, I find it endearing. Well, I have been the matriarch for a long time now. And Loershik, we'll talk when this is over.
I swear I didn't know. My people, you just take a ring and you slide it down her tail, and if it doesn't fall off, then she accepts. If her tail doesn't fall off, to be clear.
That's fair. Interesting.
I'm sorry, just the mental image of you just doing a marriage proposal by putting a ring on the lizard. The lizard's like, nope, and the tail just comes off and she leaves. It's just on a jumbotron somewhere, just a baseball game. Lizard's just like, nope, gone.
You see a janitor in the background, like, God damn it, I have to clean the blood up again.
Yeah, so she just looks down at you and sort of like pats you on the head awkwardly and hands you the teapot back.
You don't want this? It's beautiful and it has your colors on it.
Not that I don't want it, Loershik. If we survive, you will give that back to me. Then.
When we survive. Sounds good.
And she just sort
I'll
of
put it in the mansion for now.
Okay. And she just sort of awkward walks away. Technician and Vidar, what are you doing?
Vidar's gonna go find Kuzma and fetch fresh heat stones.
Okay. So I assume that... oh, no, go ahead.
I would say yeet stone singular.
A singular yeet stone?
I mean, we usually only need one when we go places, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rep is going to go talk with the refugees, see if anybody knows a voice of, or is a voice of, or can get a hold of a voice of Jingle.
Okay, go ahead and do an investigation for me, please.
Yeah. Yeah, investigation. Haha. Ass.
From what you understand, the voice of Jingle died in the Nilhund explosion. So if there is a new one, you would have to find them. But you do learn that Jingle, their main thing, their main area though they worship Jingle is actually in Vernengard. So
Okay. When the group gets back together, I'll let them know that.
okay. Sabbath, I assume you're hanging out with spider ladies.
Yeah. We'll do.
Okay. Is anyone going to see Bolo?
I'll go to see Bolo, but because it's at the put the T-bot in the mansion. But on my way there, because it's, if I remember correctly, it's on the way. I stopped by Renault's Rations and I talked to Emerald. And I asked Emerald, the money that our stands are generating, is it getting reinvested, or are you just holding on to thousands of gold?
No. Bolo's taking all that stuff back to Renault, and then I believe it's being reinvested into infrastructure to make sure that we can do the things that need to be done when it comes to here, because we have a stable portal as of right now. It is not permanent, but he has found a wizard, and we have been bringing about 15 or 20 people in every day. So that money is basically being given to these refugees to make sure they can survive. So that's as far as I know.
Thank you.
You'd have to talk to Renault or Bolo.
I'll talk to Bolo in just a moment. I give him a quick hug and then head out to the mansion.
Okay, so you walk down to the next tier, and right outside, Bolo and his best friend, your little gnome housekeeper, are sitting. So basically, your mansion is carved into this stone, but on the outside, there has been like a sort of small extension where there's a canopy made of cloth. And then under that, there's two struts, and they've added like a swinging chair. And they're both just chilling on the swinging chair talking to each other.
Hello. This is a nice addition. Very different.
Hey, I thought it would be nice, just to get out of the rain and things.
Is definitely nice. But did we actually get the name of the
I think I said
helper?
it. I don't remember what it was.
For some reason,
It was
not
Herring,
in my note.
but
Herring.
he also called himself Durr.
Thank you. Dur, I'm not proposing, to be clear. I really didn't know that this was that. Would you mind finding a good place for this? I need to save it for Stanislava.
Oh, of course. And he sort of picks it up and he runs in immediately and then goes and puts it away.
Bolo, why did you never mention that you knew him?
Because I didn't know he was here. He's one of the refugees that they brought back. I didn't think he survived in the first place.
How long have you known Dur?
10 years? 12 years? 12 total.
Do you call him Dur or do you call him Herring?
I call him Little Fish. Because he's always been a herring to me, and I just call him Little Fish. Because we've been close, but I thought he died. So I was like mourning, and then I seen him, and he was just fine. So I'm not mourning anymore. Feels good to have a friend. Other than you guys, obviously. But it's like one of those things that I've never really been social, which you knew that when we met in a swamp. I've always been on my own, blowing things up. But before that, the reason I knew it is because Little Fish taught me how to do all these things by, well, quote unquote, as he likes to call it, cooking sometimes. We were a bit of anarchists when we were younger. It was a good time. Oh, I was young. I was like 7 or 8. And then he was like 60-something. He just wanted to show me how to be an anarchist. We used to blow things up in Ilund all the time.
Well, I'm glad that you have a friend, a close friend, that you can spend time with, Bolo.
Same. What do you need?
I have work-related questions. The money from Renault's rations, is that getting reinvested into Renault's rations? Or are you holding on to the money?
Every 3 days I take what Emerald's got. I take it back to Renault. He invests it into more meat and things like that. And then we take a big percentage of that and give it to the refugees that pass through the kitchen.
Fantastic. Thank you for
The building's
sure
finished
something.
completely, by the way. So,
Oh, really?
yeah. It's been a few months since you've been back there. So, it's like... Yeah.
Is Sinhald helping still on that front?
Mhm.
Good. Everything seems to be in order. Would you mind coming and meeting a new friend of ours? We might need you to take him to the forge for us.
Sure. I could do that. I think I have 1 day before my stone's up, but I could go to Kuzma and get a new
We can
one.
get you a fresh one if we need
Yeah.
to.
If you don't mind getting me a new one, that'd be ideal. Because I just got back
I could do that.
when you just left, and I got back right before then. So
I'll go get a new stone for you, and I'll meet you back outside Renault's rations in say an hour.
sounds
Fantastic. Nice. Let's get her off to go get a new stone from.
good. Okay. And Torgare. Torgare has sort of just been standing looking at everything in the Black Citadel. And specifically, there's a large part of the big chapel building that he's looking at. It's a big stone that has a bunch of runes ground into it that you guys have never really been able to read or see. And he just has his hand like on the stone as you walk up there. And he looks back at you. He goes, "Oh, Loeshik, my great-great-grandfather carved this stone. This is his signature." And he's like holding on to
It is
with
beautiful.
his 3 fingers. It's good to be here. When are we leaving? Who am I leaving with?
You say that it's good to be here, and then you immediately ask about leaving?
There is the greater good of the world. I have to look after Loeshik.
It doesn't sound like you or your people looking after other people outside of your own.
Yes, but my perspective has gone from this big to this big in literally the last 2 hours. So
perhaps when this is all done, your people might be able to come see your great-grandfather's work?
absolutely, we are abandoning the fortress. Well, not abandoning it. We will be bringing some of it with us.
I'm happy to hear that. We're just waiting for Bolo, and he will be taking you to the forge as soon as he gets here.
Yeah, and I assume like he literally Torgare goes over to Renault's rations and like interacts with like a little bit of everything. An hour later, technician probably comes back, Vidar comes back, Sabas is just chilling. She's always just big chilling, you know. Bolo walks up and he goes, "What?" He's just, you know, how he's always just very reactive. He just goes, "What on earth is that thing? That's amazing." And he's just sort of walking up and like tapping Torgare, and he looks down, and Torgare just smiles. And he looks at Lorshik. Is this him?
He can get on your nerves pretty quickly, but he is a friendly fellow sometimes. Be careful, he will try to blow you up.
He can try.
And he sort of pats him. And I think this is where we're going to leave this episode of Soulforged. So yeah. I had a good time. There's a lot that was supposed to happen that didn't happen because they chose not to fight. So there you go.
We solved the problem with real estate.
You did, actually.
Yes, where can I find where will we find someone who knows many places to hide?
Oh, I know someone. But yeah, that's it for this episode of Soulforge. We'll see you hopefully next Tuesday. We'll figure it out then. Everyone have a great week. Stay safe. Do the right thing, and just have a good time. Bye.